The second thing that bothers me is the UFO story. And, you know, the more you dig into that and talk to people with actual knowledge of it, again, that's another story where there are some, you know, fanciful ideas floating around that are just, you know, there's no evidence that they're true. But if you talk to people who, you know, have actual knowledge of it that they gathered themselves, there are parts of that story that I do not understand at all that are really, really, really dark. It's so dark that I, you know, haven't told my wife about it. I mean, I haven't verified any of this, but this is not just stuff that I read on the internet. I know you all are very, very grounded in that story, so I think I know, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But there's some stuff there that's just like, man, I'm not even sure what that means. There's a spiritual component there that I don't fully understand. So yes, that story bothers me. And I think, last thing I'll say, that one of the reasons that we've had all these disclosures and all of these, 10 whistleblowers at this point, and it hasn't really become front page news. Part of it's suppression. You know, parts of the government don't want you to know about it, but part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too profound. And so, and I understand that, because I've heard things where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even really want to know that, honestly.
Deeply disturbing stuff. You know, forget like saucers, you know what I mean? And technology. It's deeply disturbing stuff that I haven't even told Natalie. Yep. I agree with you. It's so disturbing. Exactly. I can't even tell my kids. My kids ask me different stories about it, and I won't say it because it's so dark. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alien Out on this fine Sunday evening. Before we get on talking about what we're going to talk about tonight, I would like to remind you to make sure you do the like and share and subscribe thing. I want to remind you that if you don't watch all of this show, you can go and find it again on Wednesdays in audio form on all podcast platforms. If my lovely assistant, Miss Oliver, would like to bring up our brand new T-shirts, we have new T-shirts in the store which you can go and buy because they look fucking cool, and it helps us and it helps the show. So without further ado, Oliver, Dave and Ashton, how are we this evening? Okay, Ollie's not going to bring you up. That didn't work.
I was on a different screen.
It's amateur hour here.
That would have been funny if you just left it and didn't come in.
It would have been really good if it had brought it up in the order that you said. That would be just me being so on the ball, but I'm never on the ball.
The fact that I started with your own name. With your own name.
You're on the ball when you gag, Ollie. You're on the ball when you gag.
Yeah.
So the interesting week for stuff. I feel that it's probably right to just ask Ashton for a little update on what you've been doing over the past week.
Yeah, man.
Boy, a lot has been going on last week. So, man, maybe I'll just be a regular on you guys' show as well at this point.
I know, Sundays is the Ashton show, isn't it?
It definitely has been, yeah.
Digging into MH370 the entire time. Let's see what has been going on. So, over the last week, the biggest thing I would say is the whole scam that was conducted on me. Pretty sophisticated social engineering scam, contrary to what people were trying to downplay it as. I think that anytime somebody produces fake files, fake pictures, etc., in a coordinated attempt to discredit somebody, to me, that's a very sophisticated social engineering scam. And it was elaborate. I mean, they had it set up in such a way where they didn't want us to figure it out right away. They wanted me to be perpetuating these fake files that were constructed to look like a drone report as well as, I mean, they did it in such an elaborate way that they took just enough pictures to get me to buy into it. And it seems like there may even been, it was not just one person most likely, but a group of people that perpetuated this scam, because they also sent other emails that would make me think that what we were looking at there was true. Somebody else that at the same time was claiming to be in touch with Regicide Anon, that in an email said that, oh, Regicide Anon had seen the stream when I showed the information and that it scared them and seemed legit. So this was a very sophisticated attempt to try to discredit me in the case. And right away, I want to thank the people that were able to crack the files. If I hadn't live streamed everything, it could have been a lot more damaging. But the fact that I live streamed it showed that it was not something I was involved in. It was something being perpetuated against me. The fact that I pushed all the files and evidence out there where it meant that we were able to crack this fake password they gave us very, very quickly, when it could have taken weeks or months, that I would have been, then they could have revealed at any time that this was a big scam. And so, again, thank you for the people that cracked that. I think several independent people cracked it using mask attacks, because the password was just missing a character and had one of the characters was different than what they claimed. So this was pretty scary to me, because this shows that this is like Saw, the movie level psychotic stuff, right? Mm-hmm. This is not normal stuff that gets run on people that are, out there pushing stuff that is controversial, right? People start talking about flat Earth. You don't have people running elaborate scams on them, trying to discredit them. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I'm happy we're able to move on from that. But it's disturbing. And really what it means is that people will go to any lengths possible out there to try to discredit the case. Literally nothing can be believed at this point. The only way we're going to get closure on this is if the U.S. government comes out and admits it. And I'm just going to be honest. They know that this is real. They know where the plane went. There's no chance whatsoever. We've already proven they've got satellites staring down at the plane. They would have known if it went into the South Indian Ocean. Rolls-Royce would know because they have engine data. The official story is clearly a fabrication. They just need to stop with the games, stop with the disinformation, and come out and admit the truth. Those families deserve the answers. I don't care that it's going to expose their advanced technology. That's just too bad, right? Like I don't want to be the person who's the one out here blowing up national defense secrets, but every single FOIA request I put in gets denied. We just found another statement last night or 2 nights ago from O'Reilly Tates, who was controversial back in like a decade ago or so for being somebody who was digging into the truth. And there was another case that another FOIA that she put in to the NSA about MH370, and it got denied for the same reason that Edward C. Lynn's got denied: national security and intel activities. Why? What could be national defense related and intelligence related to MH370 unless there's a conspiracy? Like it all adds up to the obvious, which is United States government knows what happened to this plane. They're not telling the truth about it. And the only reason why they'd lie about it is because the stuff that we see in the videos is real. I mean, unless someone comes up with another more plausible explanation. So,
do you have any idea who might have sent you these files?
Yeah, so, people on social media are trying to cast doubt and say that's a random scammer. This is not a random scammer. This was a very, very personal attack. They gave away who they were after we broke the password. We know they didn't expect it, because then they immediately reached out to me after I had sent like 8 emails asking for the password when it didn't work, which goes to show there was a lot of intent, right? If this was a scammer, they would have disappeared into the sunset immediately, right? The fact that they come back shows that it's a personal thing. And they didn't expect us to hack it, so they start sending me like weird, unhinged emails claiming they're going to sue me for showing their private information, which is like, wait, you scammed me. Just makes no sense. But when I realized it was a Redditor / Corridor Crew follower, etc., was when they sent me a video, YouTube video of a butthole, and that's because they've been, ever since I made the butthole analogy, your butthole looks like
I love that. I love that analogy. I love it.
Yeah,
so
and they've been trying to attack me over it, which is funny because it's actually a very accurate and funny analogy. But that's when I realized that what we were dealing with here was like a debunker / Redditor / Corridor Crew, like cultists of Mick West, these types of people, right? They're running crews. They literally have a Discord that's just about me 24/7. Even the subreddit about MH370 investigation has become about me 24/7. It's become about vilifying me and attacking me, etc. Which, I mean, these people are, I don't have a nice way to put it. These people are mentally not well. And it's gotten to the point of actual psychosis now where they need to be stepping away from this. If they think the videos are fake, they got to move on, man. Like, the more obsessed they get, the actual concerned about my security I'm starting to get, because these are the types of psychopaths who will like hunt somebody down because they feel so slighted. So yeah, I think that, yeah, and again, because of this, we can never accept anything that we see on Reddit ever again to be real, unless there are real people coming forward in real life, attaching their real names to it, providing the real evidence, and not being emailed anonymous stuff by 6-day-old Reddit accounts. We need the actual hoaxer to come forward with the assets, right? If they think they found some cloud assets that match, there's no excuse not to find the supposed hoaxer, right?
What was the deal with the guy that came forward that supposedly was the hoaxer? Because I paid very little attention to that, because
Yeah.
when I looked at his account, I, for all the world, thought like when you see the like multitude of like flags and things like that, and what was in the bio, I thought he was like a far left parody account.
Yeah. I mean, there's no hoaxer who's come forward, right? Like,
Mm.
these people are willing to lie about literally anything. It's funny because even the day I only heard about this secondhand, that somebody is like claiming to be the hoaxer or whatever. I'm like, guys, I already literally the day before said that someone's going to claim to be the hoaxer now, right? And of course, they don't have any evidence or any proof. The story falls apart immediately. I mean, you can't take any of this stuff to be serious, right? Hoaxer is going to come forward to me. They're going to come forward to me privately. They're not going to post on Twitter that they're the hoaxer. They're not going to post on Reddit that they're the hoaxer. They would be coming forward to me. They would have come forward for the 150,000. They would have had the files. Again, if we supposedly have cloud files that are out there since 2012, which we couldn't find them, then there's no excuse that the hoaxer wouldn't have all their work. This is not a situation where you're just going to have one video. They would have had a hard drive full of the work that it would have taken to produce the videos. But again, no hoaxer is ever going to come forward because there's no hoaxer. They don't exist, right? And once again, we can't believe anybody at face value. I certainly, on either side, someone comes to me presenting evidence, I'm going to be requiring like 2 forms of ID and a social security card, right? Like, that's just the level we're at now because of how extremely deranged the people who have been trying to discredit us are.
I think that's what gets me, and that's what keeps me like drawn into it, as well as I keep saying everyone else seems to be able to have their conspiracy theory. You know, like we've got as far as our booked in guests for next year, we've got Dave Weiss coming on, who's one of the most well known like flat earthers in the world. Like, he just gets to go around and do his thing, and it's just he's Dave Weiss, the flat Earth guy. He's not constantly attacked by people for it. So why can't you just be Ashton Forbes, MH370 guy? It's that's the thing.
Yeah, I think the answer to that's pretty straightforward too, right? It's a threat to people, right?
Yeah.
It threatens people. It threatens people's worldview. It threatens that everybody, what they know to be true is false. It's now threatening people's credibility. People have thrown their credibility on the line behind it, right? Behind the believing that the videos are fake. It also threatens the exposing the technology and national defense secrets, right? It threatens literally every aspect of some people's lives. So it's not that unusual, and I guess I should have expected it in retrospect. But when I first started into this, it was just about getting the answers to the plane. The whole technology aspect side of it kind of revealed itself during the course of the investigation, and when I started getting contacted by people as well. And of course, that starts to eclipse it. But we have to remember back that this is really just about getting the truth for the families. The official story, the actual official story, is that they don't know what happened to the plane. So people that are saying like, oh, it crashed into the ocean, you're actually the conspiracy theorists. The official story is not that it would crash into the plane. That's a narrative that's been out there, perpetuated by people who are trying to cover up the reality of what happened. Again, we've proven that you can't have a 777 crash in the ocean without leaving a debris field, without leaving black boxes be visible or be detected, without satellites seeing it that we know are everywhere. It's literally scanning the globe, global persistent infrared surveillance. I mean,
that's what I find weird. I find weird how people are trying to even discredit that. Like the whole idea of the like satellite scanning everything at any time. There was who remembers the There was a film in the if it wasn't the late 90s, it was the early 2000s with Will Smith in it, and he was like a enemy of the government. He was run, yeah,
Enemy of the state. It's funny.
Yeah.
'Cause the person I was talking to today told me, "Hey, have you seen this movie? You should check it out." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think about that movie basically every day." Gene Hackman and Will Smith. And supposedly the story goes that after that movie came out, the NSA people were like, "We want that technology. We want that." And I'd argue they're well advanced beyond that at this point. That's small potatoes compared to what they can do now. They can.
I don't think that stuff turns up in fictional things without already being like out there. You know, it's the same reason you see all these movies, when you look at the credits, have some sort of government like advisor behind it when they're making the movie. They're not there just to test the tea. You know,
Obama just advised on one.
He did. Have you all seen that?
Yes,
I've not.
Have you seen that, Ashton? The Leave the World Behind.
No, I've not. I've been so far outside of movies and everything that's been going on the last few months. I don't know. It's hard to get back into movies and things like that when the real world is actually playing out like a movie.
Well, the reason I watched this is it's the a film that's come out of the Obama production company, and it's about a cyber attack which takes out the is it just the communications grid, or is it the whole power system?
It's the communication starts first, so it's a 3-phase development. And the thing is, the tactics they talk about are real. The scenario is real. I guarantee that's been war gamed before. It's a little weird they would put it in a movie because it's too close. It's too close. You know what I mean, to what the truth is.
I'd also like to point out that before the pandemic, there was the film Contagion on Netflix as well, wasn't there? That seemed to accurately predict what happened there. So interesting. It's come from a sitting, it's not a sitting president, an ex-president's production company, and also there's some quite strange symbolism in that film. Around there's quite clearly in. There's a part. This is where obviously you start looking like a real conspiracy theorist. But there's a scene where someone's getting up out of bed and there is a mug on the corner one side of the room which has got 6 on it. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and then there's something else on the other bedside table with a 6 on it. They're the only numbers in shot. It's weird. You'd think. I think especially if I was one of those people that's constantly involved in conspiracies, as Mr. Obama is, when I was watching that, I'd be like, can we just change one of those numbers, because people are going to come after me for this.
Right? That's like how I'm very careful with my hand movements, right? I want to make sure I'm not doing any weird hand symbols or anything like that.
You never point up and then down together.
I don't consider myself a big conspiracy theorist guy, but I know what the conspiracy theorist guys think.
Never rub your eye. Just never rub an eye.
Ever. It doesn't matter how much it itches.
No okay signs or anything like that.
Ashton, I thought it was interesting that Chris Leto started out getting really excited over this footage, and then he went away from it. He put an apology. He put an apology out to his community, and then he's back on. He's back on it again now, and he had
and I don't know. So where Chris is at with this, what I will say is I respect Chris. I think that he is one of the good guys involved in UFO disclosure. From my interaction with him, he's a 100% genuine person for sure. His community is one of the most unhinged communities on the face of the earth. He really, really, really needs to reel them in. They have a lot of people who have serious issues that I can never imagine trying to be part of a community like that. And that is really what he should be focusing on. I think that I don't think he realizes how bad the situation is with his community, but you can't be having these people who are unstable and letting them work themselves into like fits all the time. It's extremely unhealthy. It's bad for them as well. Like the reason why my community is the best community out there is because we do regulate it, right? We don't put up with trolling and harassment and condescension and all this other stuff, right? And what that fosters. Sorry, go ahead.
or pareidolia. I've seen correct them when there's no face in them clouds, guys. That's not another orb. Calm down.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot of that on both sides. There's even that's people who are supporting us going, oh, this is MH370 in the clouds, 370 in the clouds, whatever. Like, you don't see me report on that kind of stuff, right? Because we need to keep it really grounded as much as you can keep a huge conspiracy like this grounded, right? And this is too why some of the people that have been, let's say, excommunicated from the Discord or from the community are people that quote unquote support me. But that's, again, I don't have sides on respect to that. Like, I need people to keep it grounded. I needed people to not make it all about themselves. When something comes up, people have their own pet theories and they get extremely offended if I don't go along with them and things like that. So, that's the thing is that, the reason why we have such fun streams and stuff like that is because we are just a group of people that like science, that like memes, like solving mysteries. And, it's okay to dig into the woo, right? I tell people I don't ever judge people for what they dig into. And kind of to your point earlier, someone's a flat earther. I'm not going to go and sit there and harass them about pictures of the globe, right? And harass them and tell them that they're, hurting people and hurting, circle globe disclosure or whatever it is, right? Like, it's just doesn't matter to me. Like, I wouldn't ever spend my energy on it. So yeah, go ahead.
Say you can, I think that the part of the thing with your trolling that's been happening to you so hard is you've become their heretic.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And then they may not even understand that they're in a cult, but they are. They're in the, the West cult of nothing. And anyone who shows anything to the contrary of that or gets the attention of their god, Mick West.
There is a literal cult around this guy. It really
is
a full cult around him, actually, is the scary part. And it's it's people on various sides. I mean, it's people too that are believers in some of the esoteric aspects of UFOs, and they need to be told what's real and what's not. And then they look up to this guy who's a 15-year unemployed guy that is supposedly the one that's going to give them the truth. And I think that people need to be very careful about people that claim to know everything, right? When people speak in absolutes like that as well, you see this a lot from the debunkers. 100% officially debunked, blah, 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 right? Like, that's not how objective people respond to stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not.
You don't see those types of statements from me very often. Sometimes you might see stuff where I will give my opinion, but that's the thing that is quite telling, I think, from a lot of those people as well. And there's a lot of people out there that are seeking that guidance. That's part of the problem too, is I don't want to be someone like that either. I don't want to be somebody that says, oh, I believe whatever Ashton says, right? I don't want to form something like that. Thank you, Compartmentalization. Did we ever figure out how to say this guy's name?
What a guy.
Nope.
I've seen him live on a show the other day. He's a cool guy. I like him.
Comp. Yeah, I go with Comp. That's all I got, man.
We did find a potential witch on YouTube. We don't know how they were writing backwards. No, I'm just kidding. Turns out they had some mirrored screen thing. We were investigating some science yesterday about pointing vectors. And people have this like ability where they can write on the screen, but they must have flipped the video. And so we were so distracted that we couldn't tell if this person was left-handed or right-handed, or if they're writing backwards or not. But turns out I don't think they're actually witch guys. I think it's just a little bit of movie magic.
No, it's said now. Witch confirmed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't sold out yet either. Just FYI for the people who are at home checking out. I forget what our safe word was, but no, we still haven't.
No, we don't say it here. We don't say it here.
No, we're still waiting.
Got to slip it in the conversation.
Still waiting.
3 comments and 4 DMs from people from the last show saying, "I can't believe how easily you guys are just saying you'd sell out." Like,
I may have gotten 1 or 2. I just ignore them.
I mean, part of it too, though, is
gaslight them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that an honest person will admit that anyone could sell out, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're out there saying, like, I'm the purest person in the world, I would never sell out, I would never change it. It's like, then I don't trust you, right?
Yeah.
Anyone will sell out. Anyone will, under pressure, anyone who gets tortured is going to eventually talk. I think that's just the way of the world. And the reality, too, is that we've been clear about this, too, is like, this is uncomfortable to talk about with this technology because for me, and I don't know about you guys, whoever controls this technology controls the world. Like to your point earlier about the Obama movie or whatever, I'm not afraid of other countries attacking us. If we have this kind of technology, the war's over in a day, man. We're just going to instantly wipe out anyone off the planet, anyone who's a threat, right? So, and this is the scary part, is I don't want to be revealing this to our enemies the same way Salvatore Pais says in every interview with him. That's not what I want, but I do want the U.S. government to tell the truth about the plane, and now we're at this parallel road. So, under the right circumstances, sure, I think anyone could be flipped.
Yes, that's the thing too. Like, of course, for us, to the moment, it is definitely a joke of that, because obviously, anyone who's going to try and buy someone out there, they know their psych profile pretty well. I always like to put that out because in my darkest of fears, I know how I would get to someone like me, and I would really prefer them just to offer me money. Because if they offer me money, then I know what the stick is. This is the carrot. Carrot all day. Because I'm afraid of the stick. I'm not a fool in that regard. Maybe one day.
And that's that's what these UFO people out there are too, right? Like they're all, I'm guaranteed a significant percentage of them have sold out to that degree, right? And they're dripping the public information that is being fed to them. I'm not going to name names on this particular stream, but you guys could guess, right? And that's the reality of how the world works, right? Everybody's got to get paid. Everyone's got to eat. Thankfully, I have another job, so it makes it harder for me to be desperate and sell out in that particular way. But yeah, I think that's the reality of it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I do think it's interesting when it comes to, there's other things, like we know we have a guest, and I don't want to say who that is, and we're hoping to get them on in the new year. And this particular guest was looking into some stuff that is serious. And we had talked to them after the show. I know I talked to them after the show, and I gave a little warning, and they have virtually just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. Which happens. A lot of people come and go.
We were genuinely worried.
Yeah. To the point we were all genuinely worried. And now that they've kind of poked their head up, and that's good. I think their podcasting days of things like that are probably done for fucking ever.
Wow.
Because there's scary things in the world. That's the reality. There's scary things. There's scary people. And if you've got anything to lose, wow.
Yeah, and people, that's, going back to the case of MH370, people are willing to say anything. I think I see somebody, I pulled up the chat thinking that this random Twitter user is the one who made the videos. Guys, come on. If you think I'm gullible for falling for a social engineering scam that was extremely elaborate, you guys need to stop believing whatever any random person says with no evidence whatsoever. Like, yes, people are going to lie on the internet. Welcome to the internet, folks. They don't have their name attached to anything. They have no credibility. They don't have the files. It's like, come on, folks, wake up a little bit. No, the person who cooks the videos is not out there saying it. That's not what's happening right now. So, and this is too, like, even the cloud debunk thing. It's miraculous that people are not more skeptical of this idea that somebody, Rain Man found the clouds within 20 minutes of looking at an obscure website where the clouds had to be inverted and rotated and resized. Like, guys, how are you not more skeptical of this claim? Like, even I'm sitting here going, come on, man. And I got scammed, right? So it's weird how people don't hold themselves, like, they'll take, it's cognitive confirmation bias, right? Honestly, usually what people say about me is usually just projection. People have their own confirmation bias, which is they want everything to be fake. They need it to be fake. The first thing they hear that makes it sound like it's fake, 100% proven, must be fake, right? So again, the reality of this, I'm going to make this official statement here, is we are never going to stop looking into this case. I don't care how many people tell us to stop looking. I don't even care at this point, whatever debunks they come up with. I'll address them as they come up, but we're not going to stop no matter what. Not until the U.S. government comes out, makes a definitive statement that's falsified or verifiable, that is consistent with the facts that we put forth, right? They come out and say, yep, we were staring at it with USA 229. That's the plane. Then I'll be happy. Right.
From the most skeptical point of view, though, like, for the most skeptic, they have to admit one thing. The Lockheed Martin satellites that are filming the skies in real time, they definitely have video of what happened. They have hydrophones in every ocean that can differentiate all traffic.
Yeah.
They know if something hit. Like they absolutely have more information, regardless of whether the videos are 100% authentic, 100% advanced AI forgery for some weird who knows what reason, or a brilliant person or whatever. At the minimum, they absolutely know more than they're saying, and they owe it to the families to tell the truth.
The SOSA system thing and the hydrophones, I mean, come on, guys. They heard a tiny sub that holds 3 people pop with pinpoint accuracy and lied about it for 5 days. We're talking about a 777 that can hold 300 people crashing into the ocean. How could they possibly not hear it? It's impossible. Like, people have to wake up. Like, yes, they found 3 tiny pieces of the plane that washed up a year and a half later that the official search didn't find. Like, that does not prove a plane crash into the ocean, guys. So, no matter what you think of the videos, this is why the case is proceeding, because none of the evidence can be refuted. And because everybody should know at some point here soon that the U.S. government clearly knows more about what happened to the plane. I mean, Lockheed Martin screwed up by even having this Sibbers thing. This person I was talking to today is like, how is this even publicly available information? Right?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't expect to find it, but
That's
we did.
because they have something better.
Yeah,
they have.
They're not afraid of the consequences either. It seems like, right?
Why would they be?
Yeah, they're protected, right? Like we never forget who we're working for. Who do you think they're talking about?
You ever see where their research labs are located?
No. Is this going to make me go down another rabbit hole?
It'll make you stick with the Department of Energy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling FOIA in the Department of Energy is going to yield 0 results. It will
100% yield 0 results.
Yeah. They seem like the most connected out of all the departments out there.
If you listen to Grusch and Tucker Carlson, Grusch continually hints at the Department of Energy and that the secrecy that was used at that time has been manipulated and used for other things. If there is recovery, if there is those things, they would absolutely use that. And I think the whole system has learned, during the war when they were developing the nuclear weapon, like if you went anywhere, like if you were taking physics at any American college, your professor was basically gone if he was any good, right? He was working on some project somewhere, which is easy to figure out. Right now, the pipeline setup, they grab very bright people early on. I know a couple of these people. The boys here were fortunate to meet some of these people. They get snatched right out of grad school. They never finish. They don't publish anything. They don't work anywhere. They get paid lots of money. And they work on, they don't even know what they work on, allegedly. And I wouldn't ask them. It would only make me not sleep at night. But yeah, man, there's so much secrecy. The latest audit of the U.S., like the Defense Department, they don't know where half of their assets are at.
Yeah, I mean, people think this is they think that's just an accident. Like, guys, where do you think all this money is going? Hello, advanced technology that they can't talk about. It's really not that big of a. Not that hard to find out.
Think about it for a second. We have 11 aircraft carriers. The United States has 11 aircraft carriers with all accompanying. We've lost so much money that can't be accounted for. We should have 22.
Yeah.
Like you have lost 11 aircraft carriers. Let's forget everything else. Where the hell would you put them? They're not small, or at least the equivalence of the money that they've spent. So yeah, there's definitely so much more. I am afraid that, again, they have so much money, they have intelligence, they have technology on their side, and they can also scream that there's a certain amount of this that may be destined to the realm of, Roswell or Skinny Bob or any of these other things that people are like, I know this is real. And people are like, no, it's been debunked, it's fake. And people continue. It's like, in my soul, I know it's real. Like you just move forward with it. Are you worried about that? They'll always just be ahead.
Dave, what was that conspiracy with the ships where they did something on them? I've forgotten the name of it.
Give us more, champ.
Where the soul the officers on the ship, they were melded to the
the Philadelphia experiment. They were working on avoiding radar and as well as optical, and they wanted to fire up these experimental magnetic generators and it disappeared and it phased the people in and out of space and allegedly time. And that's again one of those things like, did it happen? Well, there's a lot of research
what year was
projects. But then this specific one
was it early 70s or late 60s?
No. It was late 50s.
Late 50s.
Late 50s, yeah. I think it was mid 50s. But yeah,
how much
might even be late 40s.
Yeah, it looks like 1943. I mean, that's
so during war. Okay, yeah.
Huh.
Wasn't the Philadelphia experiment what then turned into like the atom bomb?
No. So the atom bomb project was actually done at multiple facilities. Most people don't even know the names of the facilities or where they're at. You always go to Los Alamos. You hear that one the most, where they did the testing out there in assembly. But the reality is like a lot of the actual science, as well as the creation and enrichment of the materials, was done in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and was shipped there. They compartmentalized. Like, even people in Oak Ridge didn't know what they were building. They had no idea what they were doing. In fact, they had wildly uneducated people running unbelievably dangerous pieces of equipment. There was an experiment that's famous out there during the uranium enrichment process. They bring in a team of physicists, and they're like, hey, these guys are taking too long. And they had this little needle. Anytime the needle moved, the physicists would shut everything down. Why did it move? Why did it vibrate? They bring in some nice young ladies from rural Appalachia who couldn't read or write. And they're like, listen, as long as this stays between here, keep letting it run. And the women were amazing at production. Do you know why? Because they didn't know what the consequences were if that little needle went too far one way or the other. The physicists did. That's why they would stop. And the amount of conspiracy that is involved in that, like people like conspiracy theories aren't real, Occam's razor, simple solution. Look in to the building of the atom bomb. Conspiracy is rich, man. It's rich.
I wonder how much legs that Philadelphia project has. I've never really looked into it.
Probably a lot, man. Probably a lot. Yeah. At the labs near here, because I live near that area and I know a lot of people from that area. They announced, for one weird reason, they did the Department of Energy did a whole thing talking about they were working on opening doorways into alternate dimensions, using next level particle physics and whatever. And everyone was like, why did you put that all over social media and the local news? Like, what the hell? And then they're like, oh, that project's done now, by the way. It's like, but why did you say it in the first place? You just made everyone nervous. It's going to be a scene from The Mist.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because like, if you take the Philadelphia experiment and just entertain the idea that it was real, all of a sudden, like the technology that's required for the MH370 videos.
Oh yeah, it's there.
A lot more.
100% there. Yeah. We don't even know what they're doing or can do. Mm-hmm. It also makes you wonder how many of these advancements they're just keeping in their pockets for the contractors, who are doing the development. Yeah.
Ashton, you were saying before we went live that you were doing the space with Stephen Greer on. Was it last night? Yeah, it was last night, wasn't it?
Yes. It was last night. Yeah, I was just looking at
my teleportation up a couple of times.
Yeah, somehow I got a Wikipedia contacts link added to my stream, added to my live stream from yesterday. Interdimensional UFO hypothesis. What?
That's a new one.
Wow, that's weird, man. So the stream, I actually wanted to talk about the Stephen Greer space, which was really good. And so for anyone who may have been misled, I want to apologize. I was not trying to mislead people into thinking it was just going to be Dr. Stephen Greer and myself. But I was a speaker for the whole time. I only asked one pertinent question because I think he actually answered all the other stuff. I had a little list of notes that I was putting together. It was very illuminating for me. I did not know exactly what to expect related to what he would say. My own opinion is I'm not as interested in the alien stuff and visiting us and all that other stuff in general. I'm just interested in the technology aspect of it. It's not that I don't believe that the aliens can visit us. I personally believe there's life everywhere, and it would not surprise me at all if that was the case. I just haven't seen the hard evidence of it, and it doesn't change how I live my life in any tangible way. But advanced technology that would change the world certainly would. He mentioned teleportation several times. He mentioned even the orbs displacing space-time the same way we were talking about with the non-radiating barrier. I believe he also mentioned the same idea of the electromagnetic gravity engines as well. I mean, he was corroborating basically everything that we found from an investigative standpoint when it comes to the technology side. The question that I ended up asking him was related to reverse engineering and what the implications are for the technology. And he answered the way that I think is the honest answer, which is I said, what I asked him is, could this technology destroy the planet? You know, why do you think it's been kept hidden from us? And are we going to destroy ourselves? Right? That's what I asked him. And his response was that essentially he thinks that the doomsday technology needs to be kept hidden secret for national defense. I mean, I think if someone's being honest, that's how they honestly respond in that situation. And he said that absolutely this technology can lead to that type of stuff. And that his actual whole belief why he thinks that the he calls them the ETs, the aliens, let's just say, are benevolent is because they could destroy us anytime they wanted with this technology, which I think is a little bit of a fallacy. But again, ultimately, I don't really care. And the other part that I think I enjoyed was his interaction with Kim.com. Kim.com is, in my mind, the stereotypical person who doesn't understand the implications of the scenario, of the situation at all. Right? His thought is, well, why don't if these beings are real, why don't they just come out and tell us how to cure cancer? Like, as if that's really how it plays out, right? Like, we're not talking about a situation where it's like, here's the cure to cancer, go have fun. Here's a vaccine for cancer. We're talking about when you reveal one thing, you open up Pandora's box and you reveal it all, right? And so that's the issue here, is that once you have unified quantum and macro, you don't get to pick and choose what we reveal, right? You want the medical healing aspects. Okay. You also get the force field, the cloaking, the fusion power, the teleportation, the free energy, and the doomsday stuff all at once, right? If it was as simple as, have it your way and pick how you want to customize your advanced technology, then I think it would already be out there. And this is kind of how I challenge Greer as well, is that, he mentions the socioeconomic impacts, which are huge. And I think from the conspiracy angle, people can absolutely get behind the idea that there's elites who are trying to enrich themselves with this technology and not let it get out there. But to me, the most logical answer is the doomsday aspect of it. This is the reason why the military industrial complex would want to keep it secret, is A, for tactical advantage over our adversaries, and then B, because they don't want us to destroy ourselves and they don't trust us, which I don't even really trust us either, but that's my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it doesn't matter if a child's cold, you don't give it matches and wood to sort itself out. I think Greer's really interesting. Like we've obviously spoke a lot about Greer on this channel over the years, and I've changed my opinion of him in some respect, because I thought there was a couple of documentaries put out, especially one of them, which was I sat there for 2 hours, whatever it was, and then the whole thing eventually seemed to be just an advert for his meditation app that was on the phone. And I thought, I've just watched a 2-hour advertisement, and that kind of really that put me off Greer for a while. But the fact that he hasn't jumped in with the Corbells, and this isn't necessarily bad towards them. I just think like Jeremy Corbell, if he's done anything, has worked out a really good way to make money out of UFOs. And his heart could be in the right place. He could be doing everything above board, and everything that he brings in could help him to further his goals. And I 100% believe that people would deserve to be paid for if they put work into something. So that's fine. But the fact that Greer appears to be sticking with the Greer line all the way through this, and I think he's actually leaving money on the table for himself by not following these people, and that's given more credibility to me. I think I at least now believe he believes in what he says he believes in now.
It is odd. He picks a side and stays with that side. He doesn't. He keeps well away from the whole UAP aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that for Greer too, and I've had to reevaluate my opinions. My opinion before was that I was worried about the potential that he might be, I don't really know how to put it in the right way, potentially scamming people or whatever. But now the more I think about it, that's the same disinformation that people are using against me, right? When they have nothing. Reality is people have to make money somehow. They have to eat, right? And I think that what I found is there are people willing to, donate for a cause that they think is getting disclosure out there, right? From when I talked to Dr. Greer, the thing he mentioned is that he wanted a crowdsourced funding effort because that way it can't be manipulated. That to me resonated. That's, that makes sense, because what I've realized from this as well is that you can't fund this through traditional means. If you want the information to get out there, it gets corrupted, gets controlled, gets censored, right? And that's, so, when I thought about that, okay, well, that makes sense, right? Like, and of course, people are going to use this to attack him, especially if what he's saying is true. Because if what he's saying is true and it corroborates everything that I've been investigating from the scientific aspect and the angle and technological aspect, then of course they're going to try to discredit him. That seems to be the MO, right? Make people seem to be crazy, and then and make them seem to be grifters. That seems to be like that. It seems like it's a broken record. That's their only play, right? Pretend like everybody's a grifter. Your one for that is
hilarious. I think the people that keep bringing up your mask lawsuit is hilarious. Like maybe I should
just lean into it at this point. Honestly, I feel like I have most of my supporters would be all about it. That's the weirdest part. Most people I talk to, it's like I don't even want to go there with politics, because again, this was like, that was early on, before it even got to be such a controversial thing.
No, but it's not even just that. It's the fact that I'd like I want somebody to put a number on it. Like, I think we need a number put on. So what can I make? Can I make 10 grand? Am I a grifter if I make 10 grand? Or is it 5 grand, 4 grand? Because I think like the work you'd have to do to make, I think you said on this show before, was it like 6 grand that you?
I didn't even make the money. I mean, it cost me over 8,000 just to do the lawsuit. So it's like, I lost
what was
money.
Crowdfunded.
Yes.
What was crowdfunded was 6 grand, wasn't it? It's not fucking worth it. That's not worth the grift.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't. And again, I wrote most of that lawsuit myself, at least half of it myself as well, which impressed the lawyer I was working with. Which, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I think I could have been a lawyer in another life potentially, but it's not the life I wanted to live. But yeah, I mean, at that point, I've been a consistent person. The things I care about are truth, justice, and equality under the law, right? And that was the reason why I wrote that lawsuit, is there was no equality under the law. People were not being treated fairly who were healthy individuals, right? And back then there was this whole asymptomatic transmission scare, which we've all just forgotten about now all of a sudden, right? So that was the reason why I did that. I did not take money from anyone. I was actually putting in the groundwork, and that's how I met people who were wanting to donate. It wasn't even online. I was meeting people in real life that were, adamant about that. And I think that a lot of my followers would be very supportive of those things. And I could easily, people have asked me many times to do GoFundMes for this and stuff like this, and I've consistently turned them down. So I certainly could be collecting a lot of money if I really wanted to. And again, I don't, because that's not the goal of this.
I think that's honest in that, man. Yeah, it's the conspiracy world is bizarre. It's bizarre because you can present a situation that has some merit, like, hey, there's something here, and immediately two camps form. One, you're evil, and you're working for the government.
It starts with no tail. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the other is, this is absolute truth, but you're perverting it, and you're still evil in the way. It's like, man,
there's no winning with a lot of people.
There's no winning.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to find that the science is going to end up checking out. And that's, I think, the hard thing people will struggle with the most, especially academics and stuff like that. I'm literally staring. You know what? Maybe we should just share this. Should I just share this?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Whatever.
Let's just share this and read this together, guys. I think that this is going to break some people's minds here. So we think Lockheed Martin's a legit company, right? That makes billions and works with the U.S. government. Well, what are we staring at here? I'm just going to read it. Systems and methods for generating coherent matter wave beams. Who is the applicant? Lockheed Martin, 2011, 3 years before the plane disappears. Systems and methods for generating coherent matter wave beam are provided. In some aspects, a system includes a plurality of beam generating units. Each of the plurality of beam generating units is configured to generate a stream of charged particles. The system also includes a magnetic field generator, configured to expose the plurality of the streams to the magnetic field such that the charged particles of the plurality of the streams undergo phase synchronization with one another in response to a vector potential associated with the magnetic field, and the plurality of the streams is directed along one or more channels to combine with one another to produce a coherent matter wave beam. Why is this important? This is important because this is exactly the thing that we need to have happen in order for our plane to undergo macroscopic phase conjugation, macroscopic quantum coherence. Because what we need to have happen is we need the electrons to break free from around the plane. Doesn't matter what the plane is made out of. Even if it's something that's an insulator under the right conditions, the electrons can break free. When the electrons break free, they will begin to self-organize. And when they self-organize, they will self-organize into what? A matter wave. Now we have a literal patent from 2011 from Lockheed Martin, the people that I'm just ready to name. That's who's got these orbs. And this is the missing link in my mind, So there's a lot of people out there that can't think that it's possible, but it's not. They don't think that because it's just not taught in mainstream science. Because again, it's national defense purposes, right? Lockheed Martin is a defense contractor, but we should be keep an eye on the stuff that they go out there and patent. Before anyone even says it as well, I'm going to go ahead and say you cannot patent anything. That's not how patents work. Patents must be scientifically sound. This is how Salvatore Paius's patents were questioned very heavily. And the Navy had to step in and get them to be approved because the patent officer would not believe that those levels of energy densities were possible. But they are, folks. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. I'm going to make a Twitter post about it later tonight because I actually found it from talking to Bob Grenier, who's been investigating low power nuclear reactions, low energy nuclear reactions, LENR. And he did a presentation just the other day about it, where he has found similar effects in his own experiments. And, what this means is that we're just behind, from the public perspective. I don't know how many years. My guess would be we're 10 or 20 years behind, maybe closer to 50 or 100, though, from this kind of stuff coming out.
Ashton, through investigating MH370, you've stumbled across basically UFO Twitter, UFOX.
Yep.
So you must have now started to be intrigued by some of the UFO cases when it comes to MH370X, and things have been ramping up for the past 6 or 7 years with the UFO community massively. Yeah. And now the title of this video, which Lee, you're gonna have to say the title of the video because I cannot say catastrophic. Done it. There you go.
Got it.
I struggle with that one. Disclosure. What do you think that actually means? I know you said it a few times in your live stream the other night when you were investing. Yeah. I was watching live when you was trying to crack the code. The first time you were trying to, and you kept saying you kept saying that word.
Catastrophic disclosure. Yeah. And so I mentioned this on a space yesterday that I was in as well with Maze Love and a bunch of people where they were going over the Tucker Carlson, David Grusch interview. And, catastrophic disclosure is these videos. This is the information getting out in the public sphere, just full up right in your face, right? No denying it. What we're looking at here is completely unexplainable based on science that we have out there. It's a non-controlled disclosure, where a controlled disclosure would be coming from the government. I think that in my mind, there is definitely a slow acclimation process of trying to get people used to the idea of this technology, as well as a slow drip of, okay, wait till 2024, 2027, 2030. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it for you guys now in the UFO community. You're never, ever going to get disclosure from the government. They're never going to come out and then wheel the bodies out and the crafts out for you. That's just not how it's going to play out. What I said on that space as well, I'll say again here, is that this will come out when a plurality of people believe it to be true. And I think we're moving towards that. When I was a young child, I would say that only 10 to 20% of people would have thought that UFOs could be real. Now I would say we are at the point in 2023 where almost 50% of people probably think that they can be real. It's going to take 75% or more before I think people start to report on it. By people, I mean the mainstream media. The mainstream media just reports on whatever's popular, right? The same reason why people can't believe the science to be true, they will believe it when all their friends are telling them it's true. That's how the real world works. It's not about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. And I think that's when we'll get true disclosure. Now, these types of things are catastrophic disclosure because they move the discussion forward in leaps and bounds, right? Is now we look at this and we go, okay, what's the real implications, right? And that's the conversation I'm trying to have with people is, okay, what can this technology really lead to, right? Doomsday, etc. How do we get around that? How do we disclose this without destroying ourselves? And what are the other implications, right? Does this mean a situation where we are in a prison planet, where we are an engineered life form based on some other life forms? Do we have cousins out there? These are the tough questions. These are the stuff like where Tucker Carlson is sitting there going like, this is so dark, I don't even want to tell my family about it, right? So
what do you think he meant by that? What would be?
I've been thinking about it. I mean, the first thing is just the teleportation aspect of the videos, right? When you just deal with the science, even I think about the Tim Pool thing where I got the shout out, and Tim Pool's literally sitting here talking about faster than light communication, and which is quantum teleportation essentially. And then someone, Brian Lupo is like, well, you got to check out this Ashton Forbes guy. He's talking about like actual teleportation. He's going, well, that's too much. It's like, okay, man, if people are already talking about quantum teleportation of information and they can't, faster than light communication, they can't get behind this. Like that tells you that we are not collectively conscious enough yet for this. And then it breaks too many people's minds. I mean, I think that, again, the reason why you see so much vitriol is that just the discussion, just the implication that it could be real breaks people's minds. Can you imagine if just tomorrow the government comes out and says, yep, we've got teleportation, we reverse engineered it from these craft? These people would not be able to believe it. They would say that it's all hoax, that they're lying, that these people are scammers, right? That's the answer. The same thing they're saying to me now is like, that's the reaction they would have. And that's the reason why the government literally can't come out and say it, is that not enough people will believe it, even if they do say it. So yeah, I think he's talking about that, but I also think he could be talking about something even more dark. He really could be talking about a situation where we are engineered creatures from aliens. Maybe we're hybrids. I don't know, man. I don't really care. But it could also be a situation too where, a lot of the dots are lining up now in terms of UFOlogy. And I think you guys will probably agree with me here. Also stuff like ancient history, where it's like maybe we've been reset. This is the thing I keep coming back to, is why our civilization is only 10,000 years old. And the amount we've advanced in 150 years is astronomical. To me, the scariest scenario is what I like to call the Gurren Lagann scenario. I like anime. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm a nerd. But in the Greer and Lagann scenario, you achieve a certain technological advancement, and then all of a sudden the AI/space beings come in with their what seems like magic technology and just begin to wipe us out. And then it becomes a race and a battle to achieve a singularity of technological advancement where we can fight back, right? Where we reverse engineer the tech to try to catch up as fast as we can. And that's the scenario that I think would scare me the most if it was real, is that, well, there's some other force out there kind of keeping us on a prison planet, and the moment we get to a certain level of technology, they just hit the reset button.
Do you believe that we have been reset?
I mean, I can't say. If my true opinion would be that seems like our history should go back much further. That's the thing. And I don't think we've probably been reset in the aspect of like previous civilizations achieved the level of technical sophistication we're at now, but they may have uncovered, the same types of, other types of science that we think is magic. But, it's not a situation where it's like you become exactly equivalently technologically advanced, right? You might be more advanced in some aspects, but less advanced in others. I think about the pyramids a lot with respect to that, where it's like, how did they make this? A lot of the stuff that Graham Hancock looks at, it's like, how did they actually create this stuff? The engineering,
all the crazy ornate stuff as well. I think is it in India? If I might get my countries wrong, where you have a temple that's been dug directly down into a rock, which is it's just insane. The idea of how that was made by hand is just it's impossible to comprehend. And I always say, if you look at how we build stuff now, we sacrifice longevity for ease of building. So for these people to go around making pyramids and making these like megalithic structures, they've managed to, because I believe that they've done that because that was the easy way of them to do that thing. There's no sense of why they would make building harder for themselves. So they managed to master making something easily that could last thousands of years.
You ever heard of the Coral Castle in Florida?
Yep.
It's on my bucket list of places to go. That's a dude who built it's an interesting cat. Came over from Eastern Europe, said that he knew how the secrets of the ancients and how the pyramids and all that were made, and he built his own little castle by himself using nothing more than we could see than pulleys and simple levers, cutting out coral, huge multi-ton blocks of coral, stacking them, building them intricately that you can move them with the push of a finger.
The thing about a lot of it too is just that, like, you know, the world changes so much from erosion, etc., that it's easy for stuff to get lost, right?
Yes.
I was in France and I looked at one of these old caves. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but it's like 20,000 years old, right? And you go inside and it's like this elaborate cave structure with paintings and stuff on the walls of, you know, hand painted stuff. And it's like the one thing I would just wonder when I'm staring at that is, how intelligent were these people that were there? I get the feeling that they were not necessarily any less intelligent than we are now. That the only difference is the level of material science, right? The level of engineering and industry. But yeah, I think that a lot of that stuff's just very interesting to dig into. I'm big into science, anthropology, and all of that. And one way or another, I'd love to know what the true nature of reality and humanity is.
Yep. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. It is a bizarre task to think this is all there is. The prison planet one often goes to me like, did we get pulled out of somewhere, thrown here into a galaxy with nothing on the far end of the ass end of the universe? With our wardens, they're about ready to leave again.
Start over. I think that, you know, you can tell, like, you've got somebody in the chat as well, where like you can see how much it breaks people's minds, this type of technology, right? And this type of stuff, and how it threatens people's worldview, where they, you know, can't believe the stuff to be real. You know, they can't believe this technology to be real, but all you have to do, go look at the double slit experiment. That's all you have to do. It's funny when it gets brought up, especially if you bring it up on Reddit. The most the biggest source of disinformation on the planet is Reddit. You mention it there, you'll have 10 people talking to you about how it's fake, or even though it's an experiment that's recreatable. You'll have people there claiming that they've been able to solve it, even though, like, you would win a Nobel Prize if you could. You know, it's too much for people to comprehend. The idea that that's real leads to the conclusion that we live in a construct of some sort, right? And that is also too much for people to accept. And one thing I want to repeat, that I think I'm just going to repeat a lot, is that this technology doesn't threaten the devout, the religious people. In fact, they will have no problem, you know, reconciling their beliefs with advanced technology. That's the truth of it. The people that are threatened are the ones that think that there is no God, that there is no creator, that the world is plain Jane, and that everything they were taught in academia is the truth, and that we are the pinnacle of civilization. The ones that realize we are the cavemen just discovering fire, and that we are the ones that are saying that the cavemen discovering fire, that is saying that the TV can't be real, right? Because that's magic. That's where we really are at. Those are the people whose minds are going to be broken by this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's not too far off. It's always interesting to see through how, again, the heretics and everybody has a system of faith and belief, whether they understand it or not. If you're an atheist, you have a belief system. You know, if you're devout and religious, you have a belief system. And it's interesting to see it really come to terms when someone puts out something that could potentially threaten that. And they don't so much call them heretics, but they sure act like it.
No, it is. It's just like Salem witch trials, right? It's like, you're saying the wrong thing. You must be evil. You must be a grifter. You must be like whatever vilification that they want to put out there, right? If it wasn't real, they wouldn't be so emotionally invested, right? That's the truth of it.
And the debunks are never put under the same scrutiny as the original evidence, and that's what really annoys me. I know most of that is confirmation bias, but
correct.
It should be like when the cloud thing came out, because like the not to get like too much back into the MH370 stuff again, but what really got me was the fact that those videos came out with the orb going through the cloud,
Yeah.
So that to me instantly debunked the two-dimensional image.
I forgot
thing.
to mention that earlier today, which is like they kind of came out with that debunk too late, because 2 days before that, we already proved the clouds were moving naturally. We already proved that the orb was going through the clouds. We have a 3D render would be required. All of this just precludes there being a 2D asset in it. It's like someone had planned this out, but they didn't push it out fast enough, and we had already got ahead of it, you know? And so, you know, and that's just to add on to all the other reasons why that whole story made no sense whatsoever. So yeah, I agree with you on that front. And there was also somebody, like, and not to harp back on what I was just mentioning before, but I remember one of the spaces I was on, I had somebody jump on and they're like, this science can't be real. I work in this field. This can't be real. This can't be real. And I'm just like, well, go look at the equations and figure it out yourself. Like, I literally posted the Salvatore Pais papers that have the mathematical equations in them. And, you know, and the patents and everything else you want. Right. But they just keep repeating, like, it can't be real. It can't be real because I wasn't taught it. Right. And I'm just like, I'm not going to go back and forth with you, man. I'm not that emotionally invested in it, and neither should you be. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, one thing, I mean, I don't really want to go back over it, but sure. the files that you were sent, those pictures, the one with the man and with the bright light coming from the background and the guy behind the step ladders.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of those photographs? Do you just think that's something somebody's taken some good shots and just sent them to you? This is interesting shots, because one of them I was looking at, because I work with a lot of AI on Alien Addict. I think one of the images is extremely well done AI, and I mean extremely. So I'm going to show you this, and this I find quite disturbing because how well this is done. But this one here, it doesn't make sense. AI struggles with arms and hands. Can you see? Like,
I think we found these. Somebody found these videos. Now, I don't know if the original videos were AI, but pretty quickly, someone, I think, reverse Google searched it or whatever, and was able to figure it out. So that's how the whole thing started to fall apart. Now, I realized it was fake the moment I saw the PDF with the date of 2019 and saw the metadata say 2014. That's when I realized they changed all the metadata, the pictures. I mean, taking pictures of it too and falsifying the pictures. I mean, this was done with deliberate intent to deceive me and the investigation. And and even the pictures they took were made to look like it was someone looking into a briefing room as well, the way they took the pictures of the videos. And maybe this one they were trying to, because people are like, oh, that's an orb. Like, maybe they were trying to make it look like an orb. I don't know. I never thought that was an orb. I thought that was just a light. But yeah, like it was elaborate. Like, the people that did this was like saw the movie level psychotic kind of stuff. Like, not
you've managed they've managed to find this picture.
This is a video. Yeah, this is from a video, and supposedly the videos were reversed as well.
Right.
Which I don't know what the clue is there, but it was definitely an elaborate game. Like, whoever made this, they should do escape rooms, because man, this is more crazy than some of the escape rooms I've done out there. This was definitely elaborate. People would try to say this was something that somebody whipped up in 5 minutes. No, man, no.
That's why I thought it was AI. If it's video that explains it, because there's stuff that's off, there's stuff that doesn't match up. Yeah. So if it's video, that's why it explains that it looks like AI.
Maybe a sentient AI that made this. I'm not sure, but no, it was definitely an elaborate scam in order to try to discredit me in the case. And I'm glad that people were able to crack it so quickly, because it could have done way more damage than it actually did. And it hurts them, because this hurts the debunkers, because this was clearly done by the debunkers. And this shows the level of desperation and just complete mental unhingedness that somebody would have gone through to actually commit criminal fraud in order to try to debunk the case. Like, how can we take any debunk seriously after this? This goes to show they're willing to do anything, change metadata, falsify fake evidence, like literally anything, any lengths they're willing to go to try to discredit the case, other than, of course, addressing the evidence, which is, we're staring at Sibbers videos. We're staring at a drone video. They're in the right location. We know the U.S. looked at it. We know there's no chance it crashed into the ocean. Literally not possible. So until people want to address that evidence, the case will go on.
I have never seen.
Sorry, Ollie. I was just gonna say that's what really gets me with this. Is it's fine if people want to turn around and go at the like the videos are fake. That's fine. Just think that.
Yeah.
But let's find out what happened to the fucking plane then.
They're not interested in looking at the plane, right? They're not interested in finding the hoaxer. They're not interested in figuring out what happened to the plane. Like this all just shows how dishonest these people are, right?
I've never seen it on this scale ever.
No, neither have I.
In the history of like UFOs, this vicious. I've never seen it. It's ruthless. I have not seen this type of debunking before.
It was like many levels above this, but the only thing I can think of was when the big tech companies went lockstep to get rid of Alex Jones.
Oh yeah.
That's the only thing I can think. I mean, obviously Alex Jones was a much bigger target to get rid of. Yeah. No, but I think on the level of right, this is a coordinated effort to stop something.
Something that proves that is that first round when you had two larger podcasts. You had Mick West, you had with the Black Vault guy, the Corridor crew, and this army of 1-month-old accounts, all saying the same thing, everyone pushing the same narrative, people question your mental health, people question your well-being. Like it was nuts, man, because it was all. And the interesting thing is I noticed when it took off in the middle of the night, I was like, I bet that's when Ashton went to sleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And of course they were up all night. That was so weird.
All night pushing this narrative, flooding everything with this narrative.
So weird.
And I was just watching. We were chatting about it. We're like, "What the hell's going on? This is nuts. This is coordinated."
Yeah, it was clearly coordinated. That's the weird part about it. I mean, there's already so much sketchiness involved with that particular debunk, but the fact that these people within minutes are all pushing it. The guy that found it's making debunk videos in under an hour from receiving anonymous emails. Like, imagine if the debunkers put any minute amount of scrutiny that they apply to me onto their own views, right? Like, and at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, if you think it's fake, just move on, man. I don't want you harassing me. And people like this, I constantly get these comments about, why are you blocking people? Are you surprised why I'm blocking people? Look at what I'm dealing with in terms of the level of psychosis involved with these people. Like,
stay strapped, man.
For the record as well, like, and I said this on a space the other day, people say that I block them for asking questions. This is an abject lie. Go ahead and take the screenshot of just the question you asked that you got blocked for. Literally, the amount of people that have taken the screenshots to prove what they got blocked for is zero. Not one ever in the history. Guys, we know you're full of crap. You're trolling and you get blocked. You condescend and you get blocked. Like that, I've been clear. I'm going to block people that are condescending in my replies. No, you don't have some First Amendment right to be in my replies. That's not how free speech works. You're free to complain and cry about me to your own audience, but you can't come talk to my audience and cry about it. So again, guys, if you have a problem, just leave me alone. It shows that you have mental issues if you are consistently talking about me when you have no reason to care at all if you think it's fake.
Yeah, so we're pretty conservative. We don't really get rid of people unless they've got it coming or they're spamming the chat. So long as they can be somewhat, we leave them. We have one or two, and I don't want to give them.
We ceremoniously did one last week.
We did one, yeah. Lee took way too much pleasure in it. I don't feel like it was professional, but it was hilarious.
It had been coming for 2 years.
It had been coming for 2 years. This that's how long it took. But so a gentleman and Todd, I'm not picking on you or anything, but Todd, you have to admit, an army of Todds is the best emo band name I've heard in a long time.
It's a good one.
Army of Todd. Hell yeah, dude. I'd buy that record. I was like, okay. Take me back 20 years. Sorry, I couldn't help. You get those good band names out and you're just like, we should acknowledge that. That would be a great band.
A quick question for you guys too, is that would you say, where do these videos stack up related to some of the best UFO videos of all time? And can you think of any other situations where we've had two videos in perfect synchronization before, supposedly from military assets?
It's not from military assets. The only thing I can think of which would be multiple angles was the one we were talking about Friday, Ollie, which I think
had a ruthless debunk done.
Yeah,
and then it was quickly shut down.
Those are the most interesting.
That was the
orb over Jerusalem. Was it over Jerusalem?
Yeah, multiple angles. Yeah, but it wasn't from military.
The metal sphere thing that was over. I think that was in the Middle East. That one was really interesting as well. And then what they claim it was some kind of artifact, the camera or something.
CGI, right?
It's always CGI. If it's a small dot, then it's a whatchamacallit, Chinese lantern. And if it's a perfect high quality, high definition, then it's CGI. There's no in between, I guess. Yeah. Oh, alien scientists, what's up, buddy?
I have just for those that are listening and not watching the video, I've just alien scientists comment. I've just been staying focused on the science and technology. That is the only way we are going to change things.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and address some of the comments. Somebody says, let me see, what was that one? Is Ashton willing to unblock people to have discussions with people that don't believe the videos are real? What exactly is this discussion going to be? Hey, Ashton, you don't believe that the cloud's in there. You don't believe it's a VFX. Like, guys, I've had the discussion a million times. If you think it's debunked, you can just move on, right? You can listen to the podcast. I've talked about all the debunks and elaborate. I get that you don't agree. It doesn't seem like we're going to see eye to eye on it. So you can just move on, right? You've been convinced that it's fake. You can move on. I'm not trying to convince you and change your mind, right? I'm just trying to reach people that are open-minded. And then I want to just agree with what alien scientist just said, Jeremy, who I think is a cool guy. I really, really value the scientific aspects and work that he's been putting into UFOlogy in general, because to me, I agree. This is the only way we're going to change things as we dig into science. This is literally why half my streams now are on science and electrical engineering, because I've come to conclude that electrical engineering is where the secrets of the universe lie. And it's nice. It's almost like if you have the answers to the test and you're like, okay, now I'm going to go study for the test, right? It's like, oh, I can just go figure out what the answers are and then reverse figure it out, right? Reverse engineer it. That's the same thing we're doing. It's like we're looking at the videos. We know what we need to figure out. Let's just try to understand it. Let's understand toroidal moments. Let's understand the electrical engineering, the pointing vectors, and figure out how all this stuff works. And if we can, then, maybe we can build some smaller aspect of it and get a knock on our door from the DoD. That's my plan.
You will regret the knock on the door from the DoD. I'm sorry,
DOE.
I'm
DOD's the DOE maybe. Yeah,
DOE. That's different. Yeah,
those are the ones that scare me a little bit. That's like the Men in Black showing up with their mind eraser things, right?
It's. You know what?
Worse
we'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it later. But yeah, man, it comes down to the one thing: you can criticize any.
Yes, they did.
And the FBI is fine. They have certain rules they play by.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. Here's the deal I'll make to the people who want to have a conversation. I will entertain your debunks after you explain to me how a 777 crashes into the ocean without leaving the debris field, with no black boxes, with no acoustic detections from 3 systems, with no radar detections from 4 different systems, where 19 passenger phones are still ringing, where no ELT transponders go off. After you guys explain that to me, I'll be happy to entertain any more debunk attempts, but not until then. So if that's a good deal to you guys, go ahead and post it in my replies. I can't wait to hear the response. You can find my all evidence that has all these things listed out under why the plane didn't crash into the South Indian Ocean. And also how the United States government didn't see it, despite the fact that they have satellites staring down at the flight path of the plane.
I'd say that's fair. I don't want to
So there's an interesting comment. I think this is an interesting comment, and it's worth taking a minute. Because I think people get caught up on trolling, right?
Yeah.
That it happens. They get carried away with it. I'm not picking on this Noel, whoever you are. Not at all. It says nobody needs to explain what happens to MH370. That's but for a second, that's what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
All the videos aside, that plane disappeared. People died on board. Their families don't know what happened to them. And one thing is for certain, we know at the very least the U.S. government knows substantially more about what happened than they are saying. That is the bottom rung right there.
That's peak Reddit right there.
Everybody should be on board with that.
Yeah.
No matter what you think of the videos or Ashton or any of this, the bottom thing is you have to be on that and to be like, oh, that's not, and we're going to go off. I'm going to go back to my mom's basement and play.
Yeah.
Bro, a bunch of people disappeared. Family, people, wife, kids, women, gone. And nobody wants to talk about it. People want to brush under the thing. We owe that, right? The government owes that to us to hey, we do know what did happen or didn't. Come on.
That's just peak delusion. Like, this is the same type of people that think you can't know anything, that nothing's knowable. They're the same type of people that think, oh, I'm going to cast some tiny shred of doubt, and then that means everything's fake. Like, that's not a logical or rational thinking person. And I'm not trying to pick on them, but that's just the Redditor brain personified right there. This is not how investigations are done. If that was the case, we would never be able to convict anyone of murder in the history of the world, right? We convicted Alex Murdaugh with no videos whatsoever, all from circumstantial evidence, guys. Like, crimes are not figured out by, oh, this looks a little weird, we can't figure this out, right? Like, that's not how it works. Yes, you do need to explain how a plane can't crash into the ocean without leaving a debris field or black boxes, how we didn't find a plane 10 years later, how the hoaxer somehow magically was able to produce these perfect videos with no discrepancies on a single frame. Like, the story doesn't add up. And again, I'm just going to say this. I don't care how many times you guys insist I have to listen to you. I don't care how many times you guys tell me to stop looking into it. It's never, ever, ever going to work. I'm never going to stop. So hopefully that got through. Hopefully that sinks into the people out there who I know are watching, because I've got a completely obsessed group of people following me around at this point everywhere.
Stay strapped, man.
It is weird.
All times.
It is weird how this has caught on, both to for and against with people. Like it really has like caught a fire on both sides, and it's really weird.
I kind of have to thank them to some degree, right? Because like at some degree, there's no bad publicity, right? To some degree, where it's like the more they yell about it, the more people are like, oh, I should check into that, right? And then they go look at the evidence and they're like, yeah, wait, this doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you're right. A plane can't just crash in the ocean. Wait, yeah, in a post 9/11 world, the United States government obviously would be trying to figure out where the plane is, right? Obviously, we have satellites scanning the whole world. I mean, do I need to pull the video up again? The Sibbers video? It's like, we have satellites scanning the whole world, global persistent infrared surveillance. You think we wouldn't see a plane crashing in the ocean? We would have found it the very next day. Like, that's how quickly we should have seen it. And I don't know, a lot of people just can't think through it, right?
So I think this is interesting from Todd, because this
is the fake compassion crap, right?
Maybe
these type of people have never cared about anybody but themselves their whole lives. I guarantee you, Todd doesn't care about the families. He's never cared about the families his whole life. He doesn't care to get them the answers. The families are still literally fighting in court as of just a couple weeks ago. The ones that haven't signed the settlements are still fighting in court with no answers. No families have reached out to me. None of them have told me to stop. Mm-hmm. Right? Anyone trying to play the fake compassion card, this is the most dishonest card you could possibly play. Do never say that you care about the families when you don't. That's just disgusting.
I think it's an excellent teaching point, though, because he's talking about the videos being a red herring. So let's say we do find out that they are not real. Whatever. Let's run with that hypothesis. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The investigation into the videos has come up with the Cerberus system.
Yes.
And the postulation for the hydrophones and getting all these people to coordinate, like, hey, where's the radar? These phones are ringing. More people now know about these technologies and the phone ringing and all these other interesting details that we know that are publicly there, that are verified, that are 100%, that, again, the government absolutely knows more. That is what's come about out of this. That's all good things. So to get mad at someone to pursue something that has only yielded positive results and positive information is irrational. Yeah. It's irrational.
We accidentally figured out what might have happened to the plane with the fire too. It's like, what do you guys want here? The videos corroborate the real events of what happened to this plane. They bring back in every single witness, which was discredited. 19 witnesses, guys, that were all discredited because of 10 rows of Excel data that has less chain of custody than the videos have. If these videos are somehow some elaborate hoax by the government or whoever, it literally would have to be the government based on the requirements, then great. Then why, then they got the case to figure out what really happened to this plane, which is, I'm certain it was a lithium-ion battery fire. It's the most plausible explanation by far. There's literally no evidence of a suicide route anywhere in this. The route's not suicidal. The pilot's not suicidal. Everybody stuck up for him. There's literally no evidence of suicide whatsoever. It's a complete fabrication based on no evidence. So it's like, I don't know what people want, man. If we accidentally, vindicate all these people, I'm just as happy. Let's just get the U.S. government to make a statement, and then everybody can be happy with it, right? And we can figure out what the U.S. government wants to say about this.
The sad thing is they will never admit the truth.
Yeah, that's telling as well, right? They've come out before when things were hoaxes and said, oh, this is an elaborate hoax, this isn't true, right? But instead, they're being very, very quiet. My own Twitter has over 100 million views. That's not even all the other huge influencers who've been retweeting the stuff. I mean, my Twitter's been getting higher ratings than CNN's been getting, so it's like
that's
I get more
hard,
views than CNN gets. No, it's sadly that's not a huge
it's still awesome
these
though.
Days. I do love saying it though. I do love saying it.
Any chance to rub dirt in their eye, I'm for it.
Yeah,
I think.
And maybe we owe Don Lemon an apology. I will say, maybe Don Lemon should. I mean, he was on the black hole weird thing. I mean, it's not exactly correct, but it's closer than most people. So maybe we'll have to owe him an apology. We'll see.
All I can see from the chat is that this whole thing has done some terrible damage to Todd, and I feel terribly sorry for him. So, if he would
Todd's
like
getting beat up in the chat.
If he would like to email us at alienaddict, is alienaddict@gmail.com, Holly?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to read.
Yeah. I will personally send him a T-shirt.
Nice. Yeah, this debris field would have been huge, guys. The other thing too is there's some people out there that think the plane was shot down. Like the shot down thing is even more nonsensical than crashing into the ocean, because the debris field would have been hundreds of miles from the debris flying everywhere, right? There's no way to hide all this debris. Plane crashing in the ocean. Plane's not made of not going to sink to the bottom of the ocean. Things going to rip apart, and it's mostly plastic. Yeah, alien scientists dead on here.
Well said. Well
the people that say that we're dishonoring the victims of the family members by sharing information and seeking answers, that's the worst kind of people, right? That's the worst kind of
It's the same people. It's the same people that said don't look into 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like the people who said get your boosters.
An alien scientist looked into 9/11
and here, I'll be honest with you guys on this too. Is like I've never thought that 9/11 was a conspiracy. Although now that I'm dealing with some of the craziest conspiracies ever, the craziest, deepest conspiracy ever, like I have to keep my mind open. But I would never have attacked somebody for wanting to look into it, right? Never in a million years. I would never get viscerally angry at Jeremy for looking into it or anything like that. So again, kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. And just for the people out there too that are still, not understanding the implications here. There's nowhere else for this plane to have crashed. They literally searched everywhere. There doesn't have any more fuel. It actually runs out of fuel, according to this narrative. This plane didn't fly to Antarctica. There was not enough fuel to get there. So they literally actually did search everywhere. And we wouldn't have had to search everywhere because we have satellites that would have seen the tens of miles of wide debris field that was spreading out throughout the ocean. And we didn't. So, it just is what it is. Yeah, no, I think that we will, alien scientists, but I think we're going to have to do that on Twitter, on a Twitter space, because I think that's one of the only free spaces where we can talk freely about that. But I would love to get your opinion on it and to then have an open mind in terms of what might have gone on.
Yeah. So
we would be definitely down for that as well. We could even host it on the Rockfin. We have our Rockfin's building up quite big now.
Yeah, we also need to focus on when Twitter Spaces start adding video and we start doing things there, because Twitter's like the X space. That's where freedom's going to be, man.
Yeah, X needs to fix some stuff. Like they could easily destroy Reddit if they just made a forum capability, and if they revamp their Elon Musk. Are you listening? Free advice here: change your communities around, have it become forum based, and allow us to live stream directly onto X. And I have a feeling that you can take market share away from Reddit. You can take market share away from YouTube. People will be all about it just because of the freedom aspects. And especially if they can get paid more from that kind of stuff, 100%. Also, I just want to say for the record, I upgraded to, there was some kind of new premium thing that's twice as expensive. And I upgraded to that on X as well, because I think that, especially after all these advertisers supposedly pulled out, and most of them already come back, but because they know where the market is at, right?
Netflix
I want to support
yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, right? I want to support free flow of information and ideas and not have censorship. And I want to thank him as well for not having censored this investigation, which I'm 1,000% sure would have happened under the old leadership. They would have made some excuse.
Absolutely.
They probably would have said that I'm dishonoring the families of the victims. That's probably what they would have said when they banned me. I'm very confident.
I don't just think he's affected like free speech on Twitter either. I think his approach to how X is run now is responsible for what seems to be an opening up of what you're allowed to get away with on YouTube. Like we've definitely have shows now that wouldn't have been monetized like 2 years ago. There is the Overton window. The Overton window is being forced open by some of these companies, and I think as soon as X has like a real video service that you can have where you can upload, or you can have video like video on demand or live streams to a la YouTube or Rumble. I think it's only gonna force the companies like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to adapt or die.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys, man. I think that that's the reality too, is that people will gravitate towards the truth, and they gravitate wherever that is. And if you are not one of those people or platforms that's speaking the truth, then you fall behind, right? I think that the reason why Reddit didn't go IPO is because they know that most of their funding is probably coming, a lot of their funding, I won't say most, just a lot is probably coming from the government directly, from the interference that's allowed. And the moment that they do go IPO, it's just going to crash. Whatever value they have, people are going to short sell the hell out of that, and I will be one of them.
FYI for the chat, Todd isn't banned. He's just been putting time out for 30 minutes. As well as another one.
It's relaxing.
Because he needs to go to the corner. He needs to rub one out, relax. So that autoerotic asphyxiation on. Make sure you have a safety partner spotting. Don't let it go too far. You're going to be fine. Just relax, man. Relax.
Do
you think, Ashton, that Elon, I might have asked you this question before, but do you think Elon knows about this technology?
That's a great question, honestly. I'm not sure, honestly. Oh, there you go. Think Compartmentalization. I'm trying.
It's
Compartmentalization. Maybe he needs to spell it out first. Elon has to know something. I think he's got to have an NDA because of his connection to the government related to the satellites and the Starlink stuff. And anyone who's got satellites out there and is shooting rockets in outer space, I think has got to be able to see that there's weird UFO orbs flying around, right? NASA, US government, other governments. Like, my opinion is that they probably realize the implications like we do, where it's like, people might ask, well, let's say if China saw this and saw the plane get teleported away, why doesn't China just come out and say, hey, the United States teleported the plane away? Well, it should be pretty self-apparent. No one's going to believe it, right? And it will end up leading to them discrediting themselves. I think Elon Musk, same situation, right? Even if he knows it's true, can't say anything. I think it's actually interesting that he hasn't said anything about the case, because he does interact with smaller creators on his platform pretty periodically. And this is something that's right up his alley. So to me, him not responding, there's no way he's not aware of it. No way. I have to be one of the largest growing Twitter channels out there, or X, whatever, in terms of followers, in terms of impressions, So, I've got more followers than a lot of public figures have out there, which is just wild to think about. So I think there's no way he's not aware of this. And yeah, he's got to have some insight, but my guess is either he can't talk about it or he just doesn't know the full implications. The thing that I think scared me the most about just the situation is watching Congress and watching Matt Gaetz. I keep thinking about Matt Gaetz sitting there going, I'm the only one who's Congress who's seen these videos that he talked about with some diamond pattern orbs, and going, this can't be human technology. And I'm just sitting there like, oh boy, Congress is completely in the dark. They don't even know what they're dealing with here, right? I'm about to say this is Lockheed Martin, and these guys are thinking that we're staring at aliens. And maybe they are. Maybe they are aliens. I don't know. But to be that close-minded on it, that's part that scares me. It's like, I wonder, do they know this is our technology and he's just obfuscating, or, are they really just completely in the dark? And it wouldn't surprise me if Congress is completely in the dark. It really wouldn't.
Well, them and their staffers are busy in various buildings.
Yeah. And politics, politics is not about getting to the answers and truth, right? That's not the antithesis of politics.
Yeah, it's useless. It's useless bureaucracy built to enrich the people who are participating in a popularity contest.
Yeah.
We're just keeping people fooled and held down, man. We're slaves. We're slaves.
Do you think David Grusch is like some of the stuff that he's been told about some of this technology involves what we're seeing in the MH370 footage?
Oh yeah, for sure. So his interview with Jesse Michaels, who I was on a space with Jesse Michaels and Martin Shkreli, actually. Interesting. Guy who used to be called Pharma Bro for hacking up the price of drugs or something like that. Which and now again, I've had to reevaluate all my opinions on everybody, especially people who've been vilified by the media. But the interview between Jesse Michaels and David Grusch told me that he knows about this type of technology. When he's talking about the UFO skipping or whatever, he's essentially talking about this kind of macroscopic phase conjugation event, right? Where we've described it as having a fourth orb, a quantum entangle, where you take your rubber band. I do have a rubber band. Yeah. Take your rubber band, stretch it out. Here's the 3 orbs. Here's the 1 orb. Let it go. And now all of a sudden you've got your plane over here. Right. That's the same idea as to what he's talking about. When I listen to David Grusch, my true opinion is his NDA is extremely restrictive. He's a patriot who does not want to damage national defense and security. And all the FOIA rejections I'm getting back are, national defense and security, which tells me that he can talk about stories related to us having retrieved craft, which UFOlogy loves this. Tell me about the UFOs that people retrieved, right? What they don't like talking about is what are the implications of the technology, right? And so the way he's coy and the way, and even when he was talking to Tucker, where he's like, I have to be careful how I talk about this and that, like I'm just reading between the lines is telling me he understands the real implications of this. He understands where this technology leads to, and he's being intentionally quiet about those aspects of it. That's my opinion, at least. What do you guys think?
I think you're nailing it there. I mean, I always wonder why David came forward in the first place, but I just think maybe he just loves his country. Maybe people like that actually do exist. Because people say, well, the guy destroyed his career. He's destroyed his career, but yeah, he's got a grift because he can do this now. This can only last so long, and how much money is he really making off this?
Yeah, and I just got confirmation that it was a Redditor who ran the scam on me just now, actually, in my email. I'm gonna show it for you guys, for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Exclusive.
So yeah, this is an exclusive break. I mean, I was actually trying to find to see how many people were watching the stream, and I just pulled up my email, and I see that the scammer actually emailed me from the second email address that they had gotten in touch with me on. And you can see here that they actually reference Punjabi Batman, who's one of the Redditors on the Alien Abduction 2014 subreddit, where these people hate him almost as much as they hate me. They've tried to tie me to this guy. They've tried to tie this guy to EBO scientists. They've tried to discredit Punjabi Batman. So this is 100% proof that the scam was run by Redditors and debunkers. I mean, I already knew that, but I guess they would. Like, these people are extremely mentally unwell. That's the nicest way that I can put it. And yeah, there you go, everybody. There's your proof that it was those guys. So this is why, just for the Redditors out there who are watching right now, what have you, this is why we can never believe anything you guys say regarding debunks ever again. You've completely discredited the whole website. You've discredited your subreddit. You've discredited your debunker community, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm sorry, but we will, because of this, we will never be able to believe any cloud debunks or any other crap you guys come up with in the future, or your fake claims that you found the hoaxer with. Obviously you did not. So that's the sad part, guys. I'm sorry about that. So if anyone's upset that we are not going to stop talking about it, you can go ahead and blame the Redditors and the debunkers.
I stay away from Reddit, to be honest with you, man.
I mean, that's a smart move, man. I wish I had never gone back. And actually, I really don't post there. I haven't posted there in a long time. Because again, it's just the biggest source of disinformation. Not just a source of disinformation, but it's actually radicalizing people through the misinformation that it spreads. And I will personally blame Reddit if anything were to happen to me, because of it's allowing these people with psychosis to like bully and get themselves frothed up over me, where yes, people on Twitter don't like me, but what's happening with Reddit is actually converting people to actual terrorists, and that's the scary part, right? Yeah. And an alien scientist gets it. Like, I don't know how far back it goes. I stopped trusting it in about 2016. But you know, I'm sure it started changing even well before that as well. And so I think that just to really hammer on Reddit, if there are Reddit admins that are out there, you need to get a hold of the situation. I am holding the website responsible for what is going on with these people. There's like 5 posts per day about me now. It's like, this is literal witch hunting. This is actually starting to make me unsafe because of how unhinged these people are. They're actually running real life scams on me that are elaborate scams. This is just actual psychotic behavior. And if somebody gets hurt, it is, I'm just going to be clear right now on this. If somebody gets hurt, it is 100% the fault of the website, reddit.com, and the company themselves. I want that to be clear and on the record right now.
Have you had physical threats?
No, other than the fact that this person has threatened to mail me poop and other stuff as well, and may have my personal information now. No, I have not received any overt threats, but I mean, you can see you know, where this is leading to, right? So hopefully they are afraid enough that they won't reach out to me directly, because it will give away their personal information. Then I will be able to send the authorities after them, which is definitely what I will do if that happens. So please out there, do not come after me or threaten me or anything like that. I will take it with 100% seriousness if it happens.
And you should. They're just working up the NPCs, man.
Yeah, that's the problem. They work them up, right? They work them into a froth, right? Until they become their little troopers, and then they do something on their behalf. So I'm more afraid of those people, like the person, like the message or the email I just posted, than I am of even the government coming after me, right? The government would probably be happy for one of those people to come after me instead, right? Where it doesn't connect to them.
I'm going to pop this up here because someone in the comments noticed I was laughing there, just so no one thinks I was laughing at you, because this comment really got me. Punjabi Batman is similar to regular Batman, except Punjabi Batman breaks into song and dance whenever he gets a chance.
Have you guys seen those like Indian Bollywood things? They love the dance routines. It's hilarious. They just always break into choreographed dance. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Also, Punjabi Batman, just for the record, like, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but I love his dedication, right? The thing I say about that subreddit is that there's nobody there who's trying to solve the case. And that's why it's the debunker subreddit, except for people like Punjabi Batman. So love him or hate him, agree with him or disagree with him, at least he's out there putting the work in, trying to be somebody who's actually solving the situation. And that's the reason why he gets so much hate too, is he's one of the only people trying to solve the case, right? So keep it up, PB, if you're out there. You know, I love you, buddy.
I think it's only going to get more as far as the disclosure thing, like you were saying before, because I have a feeling that it's over 50% of people would say they believe in like UFOs now, and I can't help think that that's a knock-on effect to what we're seeing, the kind of slow self-destruction of mainstream media at the moment. You know, there's a reason we're joking about CNN just reached just before. So if they scramble to get like 20,000-30,000 viewers on prime time, yet Joe Rogan can drop a podcast out and get 100 million views per podcast. It's because media is changing and people are getting information from different places now. So I think it's going to have a massive thing. Like the likes of that David Fravor interview. That's always been the thing I've directed people towards if they haven't like watch this, because he's such a credible person that puts forward such a credible story. Like I showed my dad that. My dad doesn't believe in anything. He barely believes in me. I showed
my dad it as well.
And like that's the one. You go, well, there's a fighter pilot talk about this stuff.
I'm just amazed you guys have dads. What was that like?
That's dark. Yeah, what I was gonna say, I have two things actually. Now that I have another email we have to share here in a second. Because it's also again more on Reddit. But before that, I want to say that I think that what's going to happen in the future is that another thing will come out, either in the future, something's going to corroborate what we've already seen with MH370 videos, which is why it's so important for them to probably discredit it, is that there's just going to be more and more corroborating evidence, right? Another leak will happen. I mean, I'm guaranteed if we've got videos of planes teleporting. There's going to be, I mean, imagine what's out there is classified, right? Something else will get out. Another UFO orb, whatever, will be seen. I mean, we've already got other recordings of it, but eventually the evidence will become so overwhelming that, you know, to your point, Ollie and Lee, actually, I don't remember which one of you said it. Maybe it was Lee. The amount of people that believe is going to get to a point where it's going to hit critical mass, right? Yeah. And I think that's when we'll really start to get true disclosure. And again, it won't come from the government. It will come from us having figured it out from the body of evidence. Now, going back real quick, and then I'll let you guys jump in. Here is another email that I received. So this email was from the moderator of a new subreddit that was just started less than 2 days ago. That was a break-off subreddit from the debunker subreddit, where the only difference in the rule is that my name is not banned. My name is actually banned on the debunker subreddit. You can't make any posts related to my name or any content related to me. You can't link to me. So they made a new subreddit. Their mod account has already been permanently banned from Reddit. Not sure if the sub has been taken down, but there's no way to add new moderators. So basically, there's no way for the sub to continue on going forward anymore. Took less than 2 days for them to completely shut down any alternative narratives. And I said this would happen. I didn't think it would be that fast, but Reddit is completely compromised by the government. The subreddit that's out there is a debunker subreddit that is trying to make the case go away. They are not trying to solve it. They have just a thin veneer of, you know, trying to pretend like that they're trying to solve the case. They do not allow any contrary narratives or discussion. I'm banned from that subreddit so that I can't post content and I cannot refute the false claims that are made about me. Nothing that's posted on Reddit can be believed, period. Nothing can be believed that's posted on Reddit. It is complete 100% propaganda.
The amount of accounts that I've seen that I don't even recognize the names, that have warned us against this case. In fact, we had an email the other day, didn't we, Lee, Dave? Like, somebody asking for, and they could have been perfectly innocent, but somebody asking for your email, your personal email. So Lee redirected.
Please don't give them to me.
No, we don't do that.
Okay, I mean, I have an MH370X one that they can come troll me on if they want to.
Yeah,
like we just said, like, you can go chat to him on Twitter. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And without then, I don't do Twitter.
They were cleverly working the situation to try and socially engineer us to give it over. Like that. It was very well done. It was very well written. It was very well thought out. But at the end of the day, we just don't give out guest information. Sorry.
And nor should anybody.
Nor should anybody.
And this account today that was found after. So this is. I don't even really want to talk about this very much, but I was actually sent a suicide note yesterday, and this is a very serious situation. I want to speak about it in a serious situation from somebody who's in my Discord, and it broke my heart to read it. It wasn't a matter of like, you caused this. It was more of like, please fight on and keep going. And they lost all hope. And so I felt, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to share the information, but because there was some chance that somebody might be able to stop this person if they haven't already followed through with the act, I felt it was important to get the message out there. And no, I don't have any way to like figure out who the person is or anything like that either. And someone immediately replied with some troll comment about, I tricked you. It was me, which is not true. That was not the person. But I found out that there's an account out there that is literally like stalk Ashton Forbes account. And that's literally what the point of the account was, not the one that was trolling me. And I go look at who it's following, and it's following every single podcaster that I've reached out to. It's essentially out there trying to communicate with anyone who will talk to me to try to get them to not talk to me. This is just completely bonkers nuts. This is like tracking Elon's plane level of stalking, crazy nut job behavior, right? Like this, and I'm not an Elon Musk. I'm just, I wouldn't even argue I'm a public figure. Right, I've never been on TV or anything like that. So the level of
been on Alex Jones, it's better than TV.
Hey, I've been on Alex Jones, but I mean, so this is where I'm like, man, okay, we've got dedicated accounts that are stalking me, that are trying to stalk any podcaster I will talk to. And I know they are. I mean, because the podcasters tell me that they are, like you guys and other people as well. That is wow. Crazy, man. That in itself is almost just a story, right? Like, wow, man. And yeah, for people asking, I guarantee they reached out to Sean Ryan and told Sean Ryan, talk to me 100%, 150% sure, 150% sure.
I would like
to be fair, his handler told him that.
But I would like to think the type of guy Sean Ryan is, he'd be like, nah, fuck it, bring him on. You know, I would like to think that Sean Ryan is that type of guy.
You would think so. I mean, he has people who are talking about psychic readings and all kinds of other stuff that's far more esoteric than plane can't crash into the ocean without leaving a debris field. But I think that's just too hot of a topic. What I'll also mention is that Gaia asked me to be on Beyond Belief show. And I wasn't going to go on initially because I thought I'd heard stuff that Gaia is like really woo-woo and out there, and I didn't want to be there. But I went on Kim Iverson. Kim Iverson says, oh, yeah, they're legit. And so I reply back saying, okay, here's my info. Let's, I'll do it. I'll go on the Beyond Belief show. And then before I'd even hit send on the email, I already had a follow-up email. Oh, we've talked to our executive producers and they don't feel, our board of directors nixed the idea because it's too much of a hot topic.
Wow.
I'm like,
you got turned down by Gaia?
By their board of directors of Gaia.
Wow.
It was too controversial for Gaia, guys. So, I mean, this is we got to be serious about what we're dealing with here. Like, this is legitimately like people can't deal with this. And these are the people that think that, beings are talking to them and that they're getting psychic messages from the future kind of stuff, right? Those people can't even believe this. Yeah, that's how deep this conspiracy goes.
I think Gaia is like the people behind Gaia said, this is too risky. We can't touch this.
Yeah.
It's also something to think about. Like, the tactics going to be taken against you is to squeeze you out. There are more government disinformation agents in the conspiracy / UFO world than there are in like other countries. It's unbelievable. The amount of it just really is. It is staggering the amount of influence they put out. And it's not really that surprising they're going to start trying to squeeze you out. I mean, back, what was it in the early 90s? I think it was 10 or 15% of all either TV show hosts and or people who worked at various TV shows for news were CIA or CIA affiliates. Like, they were put there, they were paid there, they were trained there. Like, that's Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, I think is the one.
Yeah, Project Mockingbird. So, like, where are they at now? Especially with the internet that we can all talk to, they have to be even greater because it was easier to control the flow of information. Thank you, Jake. The establishment is in panic. Yeah, he's right about that. So now it's they got to be everywhere, and they got to be at the big shows.
I think this. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this is more about the companies that are involved, right? It's like we're talking about, Freescale Semiconductors. We're talking about the people who have invested in them. We're talking about the Lockheed Martins that are going to be implicated. Like, these are the power people that control what happens out there, and that they have connections. The board of directors, people may cross over. These are the people you don't generally want to piss off, but we're going to put Lockheed Martin on blast later today because I don't give an F. But yeah, I mean, that's, to me, those are the ones that what people have to lose, right? This is the thing too. On the way when I was coming back from lunch today, I was thinking that like it's really about what people have to lose. People have everything to lose, right? They really do. Like, people could go to prison for the rest of their lives over this. The government could get sued for billions and billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars over this. Companies could get sued. Companies could go completely bankrupt from this. And that's just this incident. Imagine if this incident leads to the disclosure of other illegal activities, non-constitutional activities that the government's been doing.
Guaranteed.
I think it will.
Are you familiar with former Governor Jesse Ventura?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with him. When let's just leave it at that. I'm familiar with him. Yes.
So he did a interview.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura. That's right.
Yeah.
He did.
I'm old enough to remember. Yes.
Yeah, he's great. He did an interview several years ago, and he was talking about when he was a governor that he knew that there was a CIA asset in the governor's mansion, like working for him as a staffer, and he couldn't get rid of him. He's like, they're in every state. They're in every state. You know who they are. The governors know they are. The people know who they are. Can't get rid of them. The intelligence agency's number one enemy isn't, powers that be around the world. It's the people that they're trying to keep in line. It's us. That's something to always take into consideration. And you can keep making noise and they'll squeeze you out until they can't squeeze you out, and then they'll take the next steps, which will be to discredit you publicly in a horrible way.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, you know, turn those computer cell phones off online when you're not using them, man. You know.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that was the thing. I think they have the dark night technology where they can, you know, sonar map from your phone. Wouldn't surprise me if they can do that. They're definitely listening whenever they want. That's no doubt. And videos, they can be watching us right now on the video.
I was talking about more things they can upload to your computer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that I mean, how do you? If they want to, you know, put something on my computer that's going to incriminate me, that's basically from what we've already seen related to the case and disinformation put out there, I'm sure they could do it. Maybe that'll be the next.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Oh no,
I'll go ahead and state for the record right now, I don't have anything incriminating on my computer. I'm sure of it. I only use this computer basically for research and investigation stuff. So if it does come out, you've already heard me get ahead of it. If they do some play like that, I'm against me, which I hope they don't, but we'll see.
You're mentally sound. You love life.
Oh yeah, I should probably say that again. I'm very mentally sound in a very happy state, and yes, not going to have anything like that happen to me, and don't plan to have any accidents or anything like that as well. I drive in the right lane at the speed limit.
Today you do.
It's now we do.
Yeah.
I just want to point something out. The Overglobe here just said, should this move to Rumble? We have a very young Rumble channel that we've started, and as soon as we have enough subscribers on that to go live on Rumble, we're going to start going live on Rumble and YouTube at the same time. So I've stuck our Rumble address in the comments, so anyone out there that uses Rumble, go and subscribe to it, and the quicker we can get the numbers up, so we can go live.
I would say the more that go across tonight, the sooner we can get Ashton and alien scientists on together to talk about 9/11.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to go. Is that we do a Rumble on your guys' channel. That way, YouTube won't shut me down. I kind of need my YouTube channel for now to keep getting the information out there.
Well, it's the same as us. That we know it's a double-edged sword, but it's the biggest platform we've got to go on. So
for the moment.
Yeah, for the moment.
But yeah, Rumble's, it's taken over a lot. I'm gonna say almost half the podcasts I do are being streamed on Rumble because of the censorship that, you know, YouTube's definitely under the thumb of the government as well. So it doesn't surprise me very much.
Have you gone to Rumble yet, Ashton?
I have a Rumble account, but I haven't really been keeping it active. So I apologize to people who are following on Rumble. That's the backup at the moment. And if I upload more stuff, then I'll upload it.
Do you do an auto upload from YouTube?
I don't know what that means, so probably not.
It's not good though.
Oh, you can do auto upload from YouTube.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should just to get you some build up on Rumble. Just do an auto upload.
It's not good because it doesn't upload everything all the time.
Correct.
No, it doesn't. That's true.
Well, I save all of the clips in the live stream, so I could easily upload them, and that's probably what I should do. Is just upload live streams over there.
Yes.
It takes ages, I think, because if I look on our Rumble, for instance, 13 days ago, the last upload that they uploaded to Rumble was the I think it was it was the one when you came on to talk about going on InfoWars, and that was the last one that uploaded to it.
Yeah. But, so Joe K, thank you for that. Joe K says what got me hooked on this case was not the videos, but the timeline, especially the Sieber. Have you tried to FOIA more info about Sieber and its specs?
Yeah, I could do another FOIA, but my first FOIA was to the NRO, who's the National Reconnaissance Office, who manages all the launches of the satellites, and I FOIA'd MH370 as well as USA 229, and that also got a technical rejection, which they've never sent me the information. So that was over 3 months ago that I sent that. They said it would take longer than 20 days. Well, apparently it's going to take longer than 90 days. I think the reality is they never planned to send me anything. So yeah, we're going to FOIA everybody, man. But the reality is that if there was nothing to hide here, I wouldn't be getting all my FOIAs rejected, right? Every single thing that we put on there. Now, they will not confirm that it exists. They are not going to give literally anything. Now, we know the Sieber system exists. We can literally see the Lockheed Martin video about it. If you just Google Siebers, you can find it. It's not a matter of it existing or not. That's undeniable. The question is there video from Siebers that is looking at MH370? And the part is we only need a picture of Siebers. If we can just get a picture of Siebers, we can verify that our video is of the Sieber system. I mean, and that would even be enough. So if anyone out there wants to leak something to me, you guys got my email, mh370x@proton.me. I don't know who John Ramirez is, but if somebody wants to get me up to speed on that, the reality is of me talking to people, they're going to have to reach out to me. I mean, I think I just went through the whole spiel about how people are being told not to talk to me. I'm not going to go out of my way to try to get in touch with people.
You mean John Ramirez, the retired CIA officer?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they mean, but especially if it's the CIA person, unless they reach out to me, there's no chance I'm reaching out to them. If anyone who's CIA there's no such thing as former CIA. You're always in the CIA if you're in the CIA. So I will be FOIA in the CIA as well. Oh, did we talk about the Kim.com? We already talked about that, Joe K. So you're going to check that out. We talked about the Kim.com yelling at Greer thing. I thought that was pretty funny. And just to recap, I thought that was a situation where it's like your classic normie who just thinks it's as simple as here's the cure to AIDS or cancer or whatever. It's like, it's a lot more complex than that. You open Pandora's box up and there's no closing it again. You're not just going to get the cure to cancer, right? It comes all or nothing.
It's always more complicated, and it's usually always worse than you think it is. So James pushed in, so I just followed on Rumble. How many do you need for live streaming on Rumble? Do you guys know?
100.
I think it's just 100. Yeah, it was so new. We just, as soon as we got 100, we'll start like dual streaming.
Yeah. Have you guys got a lot of followers since we started doing these a few months? Like, what was it, a month ago? How many have we done? 4, 3?
Yeah, we've gained some of the MH370X community, and and they're a cool community. They're pretty switched on. They're a clever bunch.
Yeah, they're good. They're always good in chat. Yeah, we've got a few. It's been excellent. It's interesting to see how things. Yeah. So John Ramirez, the guy they're talking about, is former ex-CIA or CIA officer. He's a retired CIA officer who talks about technology patents. He talks about some esoteric stuff. It's if you want to break from the weirdness of your day-to-day life in the MH370, Ashton, you should check out Ramirez. It gets weirder. He's an interesting cat. How he goes about talking about a lot of it's interesting because he'll talk about things that were or are classified, but he can also talk about anything that is been made publicly knowledge. Like, this has now been acknowledged publicly. This is public technology. He's like, I'm going to talk about this. He's, I'm not violating anything. He's an interesting cat. He's an interesting cat, and he genuinely was. In
our Cousins brothers are quite close to him. They're good.
They're pals with him.
Yeah, they are pals with him.
So that's how they get their funding. All right. Shit, they beat us to it. Yeah. So anyway, you know what? You don't want, like, if you're going to sell out, man, go where the money is, right? It's not at the CIA, right? I think we all know it's at Booz Allen Hamilton, right? They're the ones cutting big checks. Just saying.
What do you see 2024 bringing, Ashton, for MH370X?
Good question. I don't know. I'm not in a rush with this. I think it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? The way that I look at this is more information will come out and continue to come out that will corroborate the videos, both from the scientific aspect as well as potentially other videos that will show some of the similar aspects of probably what we see with the orbs. I wouldn't be surprised if we find another video of orbs with the forward-facing gravity engine in the future. If they're out there, they're using them, right? And then, the scientific aspects, science is catching up to the MH370 videos. We've already seen that. The only reason why we can even understand them to be real is because of papers within the last few years. Some papers that we found literally that were actually like post-date the investigation, the beginning of the investigation, like during the course of the investigation. And I'm keeping my head down for any other scientific papers that may come out. And so one thing you guys can look forward to is definitely any science that corroborates the videos I will be digging into, trying to publicize and make it available. Because I think a lot of my community as well is very scientifically motivated and they're cutting edge on a lot of that stuff. And that I think, is going to end up proving the science. Once we prove the science right, like Jeremy was saying in the chat, then the videos become much more palatable. If there was no orbs and no zap in these videos, I think everybody would be on board with it. So that tells me what we've got to prove is we got to prove the science. And that's the plan.
I don't even think the orbs would make people like not be on board with it. I think it's that zap is so alien to what you expect is going to happen. That's the real shock to your worldview. What these videos do make me wonder is, considering you found the leaker, and it said on like the court thing that these videos have been put out into the public domain. I wonder what else has been leaked out that we don't that we've seen. We've all seen, time and time again on YouTube or some stuff like that that's been discredited, and debunked. Like we brought up the Jerusalem thing before, the orb. Like how
watch
much
the video again too while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pull it up to there, and I'll start playing it. You can keep talking.
Yeah, just how many other things might be real that's out there. The odd pictures of things. The ones that always come into my mind are the triangle shaped one. Where it looks like it's over the water and then it's going into the water. The black and white photographs.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had this goes a bit more crazy with the stuff, but we've had Jon Stewart on, which is coming back on later on in the year. Hopefully, bringing somebody in tow with them that I don't want to say until that happens. But he's been championing the alien interview video as being real.
I've always wondered about that one.
Yeah, and it just always makes you wonder what else is out there. Sorry, you need me to use that over?
Yeah, you want to pull this up?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are talking about some other YouTubers. I would say that and just to be just full disclosure, people that want to come and attack me or the case, just be very cautious about your actions. There's a lot of people here that know that what we're looking at here will check out. And if you come out harshly against these videos, people react harshly in response. In fact, I don't think no one from my community, I think, has threatened anybody, and I would block them if they do. So please, my community, do not do that. But don't be surprised if your views tank after you try to come out harshly. One of the podcasters we've talked about in the past has already deleted my interview with them because of how poorly it reflected on them. And that was I gave them that advice to delete it. And they didn't want to, but then they quietly did later on. So please do not defame me. Do not attack me or the investigation. It just won't go well for you. It's really the simple reality of the situation. This thermal video to me is, in my mind, this is one of the best UFO videos ever. We're seeing orbs. We're seeing them in extreme high definition from the most advanced cameras on the face of the earth for 2023, 2013, 2014. People that are talking about stuff like Bigfoot and what have you, and then want to cast doubt on this. It's like, it doesn't shine well for your own audience. And I'm not telling you have to believe it, but I'm telling you should probably have an open mind if you believe in things that are extremely esoteric, but then want to look at super high quality videos and claim that, we're looking at After Effects. Guys, you got to get real, man. So yeah, this, especially like the part here, the super slow-mo is the one, like you can see the monopole of the orbs. You can see the orbs converge on the plane. You can see the plane blur and get colder here, and the orbs flatten from the gravitational lensing. I mean, what kind of genius made these, right? Like, this is, I don't know, they're just very compelling videos, guys. And we're not going to stop talking about them just because people don't want us to.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good place to wrap it up. I think this is going to be our final Sunday show of the year, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Christmas show next Friday.
Yeah.
We'll all be here nude. It's on OnlyFans.
I'll be naked.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll be talking about MH370 and to you as well, Ashton, in the new year. And
Merry Christmas, Ashton.
Yeah, Happy New Year's. I'm going to take a few days off from podcasting and interviews with people to just be with my family and enjoy the holidays myself.
Turn all of your devices off. Every single one of them.
Kill that Wi-Fi.
Investigation won't stop though, guys. So thanks for having me on. I always love chatting with you guys.
Can I just
fun.
mention my concerns about your drinking, Ashton?
Yes, please.
There's a few people that have mentioned those martinis may be a little bit strong in your live chat.
Yeah, no, I think I mean that night, man, I went to a dinner party and came back, and I gotta be a little bit careful about that. I start talking a little loose lips when I've had a couple too many to drink. Usually I keep it to just one martini, but that was like 3 drinks I had that night, and I'm not a big drinker either. I really don't drink very much, so that was yeah.
No,
yeah, guys,
that was a joke. 'Cause I actually find it very kind of like weird when people are like, "Oh, how many have you drunk tonight? Or do you do this every night?" It's none of your
business. We say that to Ollie regularly.
Yeah, because it's fucking breakfast time, Ollie.
Yeah. Oh, you just woke up. Ashton, if you hang out with us for a second, we'd like to holler at you after the show.
Yeah, of course.
Man. I appreciate that. Everybody, thanks for watching tonight.
Cheers. Oh, and also, thank you for the Bigfoot shout, Ashton.
Called it up.
There you go.
Being real, guys. I really do. Actually,
that's the new Christmas.
That's awesome.
That's me right there, man. That's me.
I love that.
Dave. That is Dave.
I need one of these shirts.
There you go. And for the MH370x community, that's
nice.
A big thank you to you guys for being such big supporters. I'm sure we're going to get called grifters for that as well.
Of course.
There you go.
Because we didn't take into account the families of Bigfoot and how they might feel about us using Bigfoot on the
t-shirt. Don't you worry. I'm going to find the families of Bigfoot. That's why I go out in the woods on the weekend. I'll find them.
Dave Squatch. There you go.
Thank you. Good night.
These guys.
The second thing that bothers me is the UFO story. And the more you dig into that and talk to people with actual knowledge of it, again, that's another story where there are some, fanciful ideas floating around that are just, there's no evidence that they're true. But if you talk to people who, have actual knowledge of it that they gathered themselves, there are parts of that story that I do not understand at all that are really, really, really dark. It's so dark that I, haven't told my wife about it. I mean, I haven't verified any of this, but this is not just stuff that I read on the internet. I know you all are very, very grounded in that story, so I think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff there that's just like, man, I'm not even sure what that means. There's a spiritual component there that I don't fully understand. So yes, that story bothers me. And I think, last thing I'll say, that one of the reasons that we've had all these disclosures and all of these, 10 whistleblowers at this point, and it hasn't really become front page news. Part of it's suppression. Parts of the government don't want you to know about it, but part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too profound. And I understand that, because I've heard things where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even really want to know that, honestly.
Deeply disturbing stuff. Forget like saucers and technology. It's deeply disturbing stuff that I haven't even told Natalie. Yep. I agree with you. It's so disturbing. Exactly. I can't even tell my kids. My kids ask me different stories about it, and I won't say it because it's so dark.
Ollie, we don't give you enough recognition, but your intros and outros are fucking amazing lately. I don't know.
You're still live, by the way.
Yeah, Oh yeah. We know this is our trolling at the end for the hardcore fans, where we say the dark, twisted, sexual things. Yeah, like creamy pudding.
Is this where I do that? Was it ASMR? Or is that the?
Nah, this is so they can finish. Count down with me, boys. 3, 2.